5 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I look to sell high and trade away this week. The first guy is Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. So Byron Buxton, he's been a man on a mission so far this season here for this Minnesota Twin team. Even though they're off to a bad start on the season, 32 of 83. 9 home runs, which is up there with the Major League, 17 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, a 386 batting average, a 427 on base, and 18 runs scored. So Buxton, he's one of the best prospects in all of Major League Baseball before he came up a few seasons ago. And this season, he's putting it all together. Last year, the power was definitely there for him with 13 home runs. But here, we're in the beginning of May, and he already has 9 on the season with an amazing 386 batting average here for Buxton. But there's no way I see him even batting in the high threes this season. Maybe 280, 290 to finish the season. But right now, it's been a great first month and change here for Byron Buxton. But the power, I think, is legit. He'll probably finish the season with 30 home runs. But right now, as the 7th best ranked player in fantasy baseball, I think you could get a huge haul for Buxton. And especially if you're a manager down there in the standings, even though I know it's only week 5 right now, if the big trade's out there for Buxton, you definitely sell him high, because right now I don't think this is going to continue for him. And it's been a good run, no doubt about it. But if I could get a good starting pitcher and a good hitter for him, it's a type of deal you want to go out there and make. May 1st versus Kansas City, 0 for 3. May 2nd versus the Royals, 2 for 5 with a run and an RBI. May 3rd versus Texas, 0 for 3 with a run. And May 4th versus Texas yesterday, 1 for 4 with a homer and 2 RBIs. So right now we've seen Buxton slow down a little bit just in the last week here. His batting average in the week is 356, even though he started off on a tear a couple weeks ago in the high 400s. But right now, he's playing well, but no way this is sustainable for him to have this high of a batting average. And like I said, if you could put him on the trade block and get a lot for him, this is definitely the time to do it and sell him high. The next play is Carson Kelly, the catcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So he was the big piece in that Paul Goldschmidt trade a couple seasons ago here, was Carson Kelly. And right now, he's living up to his former top prospect in the Cardinal system hype is Kelly on the year. 20 for 60 from the plate, 6 home runs, 17 RBIs, a 333 batting average, and an amazing 476 on-base percentage with 13 runs scored. So right here, Kelly, obviously he's not playing every day, and it's only a small sample size, 60 at-bats, but obviously he's the starter for this Diamondback team, and he's definitely producing as the 18th best fantasy player so far this season in fantasy baseball. Right here, he's in a division where a lot of teams don't have great pitching besides the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Padres. But right here, he's producing versus the weaker teams like the Rockies pitching staff and also the last series at the Miami Marlins as well. But right here, Carson Kelly, he was a top prospect for a reason, and right now he's blossoming. And right now there's some people out there who might want a catcher like that, because catcher's a weak position and they would trade a little more to get more value at the position. And right now, Carson Kelly, he's definitely a player I would sell high in the last few games for him. April 28th versus San Diego, 0 for 2. April 30th versus the Rockies, 2 for 4 with a run. May 1st versus Colorado, 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs. And then yesterday, 1 for 4 versus Miami. So Kelly, he's playing well. But if I could get a decent amount for a catcher, this is the time to do it. Like I said, catcher's a weak position, and you could get something good like a starting pitcher or just a nice power bat that hasn't broken out yet. This is the time to do it. The next player we're staying at the catching position is Buster Posey of the San Francisco Giants. So Posey, he opted out last season, and this season he's come back with a vengeance, and he looks like the Posey of old from like the 2015-2016 years. So far in the season, 26-68 for Posey, 7 home runs, 10 RBIs, 17 runs scored, a 382 batting average, and a 440 on base percentage. So Posey, he's come out of nowhere. In my opinion, I thought he was washed up, and his better days were way behind him over the last few seasons. But right now, he's playing at a high level once again, like he used to years ago with this Giant team. And I think that year off might have rejuvenated and refreshed Posey here to go out there and produce for this team. up there in age as well now. April 30th at San Diego, 2 for 4 with a homer and 2 runs. May 1st at San Diego, 1 for 3. May 4th at Colorado, 3 for 4 with a homer and 3 runs scored. And here today, he's batting second at the Rockies in a 3-10 ball game. So Buster Posey, he's at top of the lineup here for San Francisco. And it's good to see him producing. But like I mentioned with Carson Kelly, with catchers so weak of a position, and plus with Posey with his name value, I think he's a guy you easily could sell high and get a good starting pitcher or just a good bat for him. Because right now, I don't see him sustaining it. We know throughout his career, he was a good batting average and power hitter. But up here in his older age, I just think he's off to a hot start. And he's going to come back to the numbers that he had the last couple seasons, is Posey, before he opted out last year. The next hitter is Yerman Mercedes of the Chicago White Sox. So Mercedes, he's been on the list already 3 or 4 times in the first 5 weeks of the fantasy baseball season. So far in the season, 34 for 87, 5 home runs, 16 RBIs, 10 runs scored, a .391 batting average, and a .430 on base percentage. So Mercedes, he's been hitting out of this world and getting on base at an amazing pace so far here for this White Sox team. But the thing with him, he don't really have a position. And right now, they've been playing in Cincinnati the last 2 games. And Mercedes hasn't played, obviously, with no DH out there. So that definitely could be a problem throughout the season here for Mercedes and the White Sox, especially when they go to National League ballparks here this season. But right here, he's been slumping a little over the last 2 weeks with the numbers dropping just a bit. And right now, he's a player that came out of nowhere this season. You really didn't hear much about him the last couple seasons, or even in the Chicago White Sox farm system here is Mercedes. But right now, if the right deal's out there, I would do it. His versatility in fantasy baseball, there is none. He only qualifies at utility, and I think you could get a very good starting pitcher for him at this point, because this guy's hitting an amazing .391, and it's been 87 at-bats. It's not like it's a 20 to 30 bat sample. So right now, he's a classic sell-high guy, especially with not much versatility in fantasy, and him not starting in National League ballparks. I would look to trade Yerman Mercedes if the right deal's out there. And the 5th and final hitter, I would look to sell high and trade away this week's Justin Turner, Los Angeles Dodgers. So Turner, another player that's been mentioned in this buy low or sell high column the last couple weeks here. Right here, Turner on the season, it's been a great year. 35 for 105, 7 home runs, 22 RBIs, a .333 batting average, a .415 on base, and 20 runs scored. But right here, the last couple weeks, the numbers have definitely been dropping down for Turner in this time. 11 for 42, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, only a .262 batting average, and a .373 on base for Turner. So Turner, he's 36 years old. He's had a great career ever since he left the New York Mets and went to the Los Angeles Dodgers years ago here. But right now, he's a guy that's been injured the last couple seasons, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him be on the injured list for a stint or 2 this season. And right now, with the numbers coming just down a little, because he was hitting the high 400s a couple weeks ago, I think it's going to continue to drop. And when it's all said and done, he'll probably hit 290 to 300. But the power numbers, I don't think they'll be a top in the league. And I also could see an injured list type of deal here for Turner. So the last few games for him: April 29th in Milwaukee, 2 for 4. April 30th at Milwaukee, 0 for 4. May 1st, 1 for 4 with an RBI. May 2nd at Milwaukee, 2 for 3 with 2 runs. And then yesterday at the Chicago Cubs, 1 for 4 with a homer. So Turner, his hits per game have gone down just a bit. And he's a player that's definitely a sell-high candidate, especially at his age at 36 years old. So that's a few hitters I would look to sell high and trade away here in Week 5 of the fantasy baseball season.